We welcome our Law Minister, Farooq Naseem. Welcome, sir. It's a pleasure to have you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, Muazzaz Khawateen o Hazrat, Excellencies, Assalamu alaikum. I'm Advocate Laiba Qayyum, Legal Research Consultant at Group Development Pakistan. The Federal Ministry of Law and Justice, in collaboration with Group Development Pakistan and the Women in Law Initiative, Pakistan is pleased to welcome you on the first Women in Law Award to celebrate and acknowledge female lawyers in Pakistan. We again express our gratitude to the British High Commission and Australian High Commission for supporting us in our vision and endeavours to enhance the representation of women in the legal profession. As Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah said, and we are never tired of quoting him, no nation can rise to the height of glory unless your women are side by side with you. To start this session, we would first like to present a video contextualizing the Women in Law Awards and giving an introduction of the Lawyer Her website and portal. May I request the team to please play the video?
No nation can ever be worthy
Recording
of
in
its existence
progress.
that cannot take its women along with the men. No struggle can ever succeed without women participating side by side with men. The legal profession in Pakistan is predominantly male, with women making up less than 5.3% of the members of senior judiciary. The current data of sitting judges of the high courts in Pakistan shows that out of 113 judges altogether, only 6 are women. In 73 years of its independence, no woman has ever been appointed as a judge in the Supreme Court of Pakistan or as an Attorney General for Pakistan. Women also lack any real representation in the bar councils, with only 6 members being women out of a total of 198 members from the 7 bar councils. The number of female advocates in senior level positions or as heads of law firms is also dismal. This inequality in representation of women deprives them from participation in critical decision-making processes and hinders the capacity to provide gender and child-sensitive justice for improving rule of law. Women constitute a 48.76% of the total population, and their proportional representation in all fields is important for socio-economic development. With an aim to address these inequalities, the Federal Ministry of Law and Justice, in collaboration with Group Development Pakistan and Women in Law Initiative Pakistan, is undertaking an initiative increasing women's representation in law, with support from the Australian High Commission and the British High Commission. Under this initiative, the Women in Law Awards shall be institutionalized, a symposium on increasing women's representation in law will be held, a Women in Law web app and portal would be developed as a one-stop data information system about women in law. We believe that increasing women's representation in law will pave the way forward to improve access to justice, rule of law, inclusion at an institutional level. Additionally, this joint action will contribute in achieving SDG 5 to achieve gender equality, SDG 16.2 to end all forms of violence and torture against children, SDG 17 to strengthen partnership for sustainable development.
Thank you for watching. This is what we committed and now stands delivered. May I please invite Ms. Valerie Khan Yusufzai to come on the stage?
Muazzez Khawatin wa Azrat, dear guest, Excellencies, Assalamu alaikum. We are so sorry for this little delay. There is a lot of traffic outside, so please maaf kijiye. The representative of the Austrian High Commission and the British High Commission are on their way, trying to find their way and space through the traffic. To proceed with what has been rightly labeled as the first ever Women in Law Awards in the history of Pakistan, I have the immense honor and pleasure to call on stage the Honorable Federal Minister for Law and Justice, Barrister Dr. Muhammad Farooq Naseem, please. The next person to come is someone who is very dear to me, actually, because I had the honor and the privilege to meet him years ago when I was much younger in the Lahore High Court. And at that time, we were actually, again, with retired Justice Nasira Iqbal and many other justices and lawyers, trying to get this historical law passed, which was the Criminal Law Amendment 2011, to actually end acid and burn violence. I have the pleasure to say that we actually did, and we sought guidance from this wonderful person I will now present to you. And we are proud to say that thanks to this law, the way it was drafted and strategized, we now, as Pakistani, hold the world record to end GBV. Acid violence has been decreased by 85%, and that's a result that no other country owns. I have the immense honor to invite on stage Honorable Justice Azmat Said. Thank you, please. And since this event is all about gender equality and parity and how competent and extraordinary we know Pakistani women legal expert can be, I have the second privilege to invite on stage retired Justice Nasira Iqbal. Please, would you like to join us? As soon as our foreign representatives come, I will call them on stage as well. For now, could I please request Malika Saiba, Barrister Malika Bukhari, to come on stage as well. She is the driving force who's annoying our minister to make sure all this is happening. Thank you so much. Shukriya bot, and enjoy the event.
Thank you, Valerie. I would now like to request Ms. Nida Osman Chaudhary to come on stage to share further details with us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much. My name is Nida Osman Chaudhary, and I'm one of the partners and curators of this wonderful initiative, जिसका आगाज़ हमने 3 सितंबर 2020 में किया था, और तब से अब तक जिस मेहनत, जिद्दोजहद और जिस कमिटमेंट के साथ हम सब टीम्स ने मिलकर इस इनिशिएटिव को यहाँ तक आज पहुँचाया, मेरे लिए बहुत ही फ़ख्र की बात है। और इसके लिए तमाम साथी जो हमारे साथ थे उनके लिए मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ, ख़ास तौर पे हमारे जो पेट्रन्स और लीडरशिप जिनके बगैर ये मुमकिन नहीं था। उसमें जो हमारे ऑनरेबल फेडरल लॉ मिनिस्टर साहब हैं डॉक्टर मोहम्मद फ़ारूक नसीम साहब, शुक्रिया सर आपका। पार्लियामेंट्री सेक्रेटरी मिस मलिका बुखारी साहिबा, जिनके बगैर ये मुमकिन नहीं था। और हम जस्टिस नासरा ने, जस्टिस अजमत सईद साहब ने हमें हर लम्हा हर मौके पे गाइड किया, तो उनकी भी मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ। और साथ ही हमारे जो मेन स्पॉन्सर्स ऑस्ट्रेलियन हाई कमीशन और ब्रिटिश हाई कमीशन, और ख़ास तौर पे ऑब्वियसली ग्रुप डेवलपमेंट पाकिस्तान जो हमारे इम्प्लीमेंटिंग पार्टनर्स हैं वुमेन लॉ इनिशिएटिव के साथ, उनका भी मैं तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ। और आप सब लोगों का जिन्होंने हमारी कॉल फॉर नॉमिनेशंस को, इस हिस्टोरिक इवेंट को, फेडरल मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ लॉ एंड जस्टिस के इस हिस्टोरिक فرسٹ ایور پبلک پرائیویٹ پارٹنرشپ کو آپ لوگوں نے سکسیزفل بنایا, اپنی نامزدگیاں بھیج کر, اپنی اپلیکیشنز بھیج کر, ہمارے کال فار پیپرز کو رسپونڈ کر کے, اور جیسے ہم صبح بات کر رہے تھے یہ ایک بہت ہی ایمبیشیس پروجیکٹ تھا جو ہم نے انڈرٹیک کیا, کیونکہ ہم اتنے سالوں سے کوشش کر رہے تھے کہ قومی سطح پر ہمیں نمائندگی کا موقع ملے اور خواتین وکلاء کو اور ان کی کاوشوں کو پیش کرنے کا موقع ملے, کیونکہ اکثر ان کا جو کام ہے وہ سارا پیچھے رہ جاتا ہے کہیں. تو پھر پوچھا جاتا ہے کہاں ہیں عورتیں, کہاں ہیں جب ایسی کوئی بات آتی ہے لیڈرشپ پوزیشنز میں پروموٹ کرنے کی. تو یہاں ہیں عورتیں, یہ ہیں ہماری فیمیل لائرز, اور آج ہم یہاں سب اکٹھے ہوئے ہیں ان سب کو سیلیبریٹ کرنے کے لیے, ان کی اچیومنٹس آپ کے سامنے رکھنے کے لیے. اور ہم بہت خوش ہیں کہ ہمارے پاس ریپرزنٹیشن ملک کے ہر کونے سے ہے, ہر صوبے سے ہے, اور ہر طرح کہ یہاں پہ پروفیشن سے تعلق رکھنے والے لوگ ہیں, چاہے وہ پریکٹسنگ ہیں, چاہے وہ ایکیڈیمکس ہیں, چاہے وہ لا اسٹوڈنٹس ہیں. تو یہ میرے لیے بہت ہی امپورٹنٹ تھا کہ ہم سب اس کو ایک انٹرسیکشنل ریپرزنٹیشن, اکراس دا بورڈ ریپرزنٹیشن بنا سکیں. اور خوشی مجھے ہوتی کہ اور بھی ہم اس کو مزید, ظاہر ہے اس سے جو بھی لیسنس لرن کریں گے تو انشاءاللہ اس کو آگے بھی بہتر بنائیں گے. اس پروجیکٹ کے 4 پارٹس تھے, آج وہ سارے کنکلوڈ ہو جائیں گے, لیکن میں کوئک ریکیپ جو ہمارے مہمان ہیں جنہوں نے آج ہمیں جوائن کیا ان کے لیے کرنا چاہوں گی کہ اس پروجیکٹ کے ذریعے ہم نے سب سے پہلے پاکستان میں پہلی دفعہ ایک بیس لائن اسٹڈی کنڈکٹ کی, جس میں ڈیٹا بیکڈ ایویڈنس کے ساتھ جینڈر ڈسپیرٹی ان دا لیگل پروفیشن کے 4 ایسپیکٹس کو کور کیا گیا ہے, جس میں جوڈیشری, پروسیکیوٹرز, ایڈوکیٹس اور لائرز وغیرہ سارے شامل ہیں. تو یہ سارے جو آپ کے ڈپارٹمنٹس ہیں آپ اس میں دیکھ سکتے ہیں. ہم نے بہت ڈیٹیل ریسرچ کی ہے, منسٹری آف لا اینڈ جسٹس کے تعاون کے ساتھ, ان کے بغیر یہ ممکن نہیں تھا. سارا ڈیٹا آفیشیل ہے, اور اس لیے اسٹڈی کی کریڈیبلٹی جو ہے وہ ایسی ہے کہ ہر جگہ پہ اس کو کوٹ کیا جا رہا ہے, اور اس ڈیٹا کو بیس لائن کے طور پہ ہم یوز کریں گے, اور اس سے اب ہم گیج کریں گے کہ آئندہ آنے والے سالوں میں کتنی اور بہتری آئی ہے اور ہم کہاں کھڑے ہیں. ویسے تو یہ رپورٹ کرتے کرتے بار کاؤنسلز کے ادار و شمار میں کمی دیکھنے کو ملی ہمیں, لیکن ہم امید کرتے ہیں کہ ہم ان فگرز کو مزید بہتر کر سکیں گے. اس کے ساتھ ہی ہم نے ایک ڈیڈیکیٹڈ پورٹل اور ایپ کا بھی انعقاد کیا تھا, جس کے بارے میں ہم بات کر چکے ہیں. lawyher.pk کے نام سے یہ ایپلیکیشن ہے, پورٹل ہے, اور میں تمام یہاں فیمیل لائرز کو انوائٹ کروں گی کہ اپنی پروفائلز اس میں بنائیں جو پریکٹیشنرز ہیں, تاکہ لوگ آپ تک پہنچ سکیں, اپنی کوئریز آپ تک بھیج سکیں, اور ہم اس طرح آپ کو کنیکٹ کر سکیں کلائنٹس کے ساتھ اور دوسرے اور اپرچونٹیز کے ساتھ. اس کے علاوہ اس میں آپ آرٹیکلز بھیج سکتے ہیں, پوسٹ بھیج سکتے ہیں, آپ کے کام کو ہم وہاں پہ اجاگر کر سکتے ہیں. سو کائنڈلی سینڈ اس یور انٹریز. اور آخری 2 پہلو جو تھے وہ آج ہم نے کنکلوڈ کیے, جس میں صبح میں ہمارا ایک سمپوزیم تھا سر, 8 پیپرز اس میں ہم نے ہمارے ریسرچرز نے, جس میں اسٹوڈنٹ سے لے کر اسٹیبلشڈ ایکیڈیمکس شامل ہیں, انہوں نے ڈائیورسٹی اور انکلوژن کے حوالے سے اپنی سبمیشنز دیں, اور وہ پیپرز ایک ریگرس پروسیس کے بعد سلیکٹ کیے گئے, اور ان کو پاکستان جرنل آف ڈائیورسٹی اینڈ انکلوژن, جو کہ ہماری فلیگ شپ پبلیکیشن ہے, پراپر ود اے فل ISSN نمبر, ریکگنائزڈ ISSN نمبر, اس کا بھی آج صبح میں لانچ کیا گیا تھا. تو جو فولڈرز آپ کے پاس موجود ہیں ان میں نہ صرف یہ بیس لائن اسٹڈی بلکہ یہ جرنل بھی ہے. اور اب ہم آغاز کریں گے فارملی اس پورے پروجیکٹ کے آخری ایسپیکٹ کا, جو ہے Pakistan's first Women in Law Awards. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nida. There's a say what women want, God wants. All this wonderful initiative would have never been possible without the unwavering support of Barrister Malika Bukhari, Parliamentary Secretary for the Ministry of Law and Justice. May I please request Barrister Malika Bukhari to come on the stage and share her valuable insights on this award. Over to you, ma'am.
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. بہت شکریہ آپ کا. میں اپنی اسپیچ کو مختصر رکھوں گی. سب سے پہلے تو جو ہمارے پیٹرنز ہیں, جیوری کے ممبرز ہیں, ریٹائرڈ جسٹس عظمت سعید, ریٹائرڈ جسٹس ناصرہ اقبال اور فیڈرل لا منسٹر بیرسٹر فروغ نسیم, ان کا شکریہ ادا کرنا چاہوں گی کہ انہوں نے اس بہت ہی قومی نوعیت کا جو پروجیکٹ ہے اس کو اپنی سپورٹ دی. پاکستان کی جو آبادی ہے اس کا 50% حصہ خواتین کے اوپر مشتمل ہے. اور یہ بہت اہم ہے کہ ایز اے خاتون ممبران پارلیمنٹ یہ آئی تھنک میرا قومی فریضہ ہے کہ اس قسم کی انیشیٹیوز کا پارٹ بنے جس کے اندر خواتین کی ریپرزنٹیشن کو آگے بڑھایا جائے. مجھ سے پہلے ندا چودھری نے بات کی, انہوں نے کہا کہ ہم جب بھی لیگل پروفیشن کی طرف دیکھتے ہیں انفارچونیٹلی ہمیں نظر آتا ہے کہ بارز کے اندر, بینچز کے اندر اور محترم اعلیٰ عدالت کے جو ججز ہیں ان کے اندر ہمیں ایک خاتون نظر نہیں آتی. تو ریپرزنٹیشن کو انکریز کرنا ایک نیشنل نوعیت کا ایشو ہے. اور آج ایک بہت ہی خوش آئند دن ہے کہ وزارت قانون و انصاف نے پارٹنر کیا ہے برٹش ہائی کمیشن کے ساتھ, آسٹریلین ہائی کمیشن کے ساتھ اور گروپ ڈیولپمنٹ پاکستان کے ساتھ, اینڈ آف کورس ویمن ان لاء کے ساتھ, ٹو انشور کہ ویمن کی جو ریپرزنٹیشن ان دا لیگل پروفیشن اس کو آگے بڑھایا جائے اور اس کو یقینی بنایا جائے. تو آپ سب کو مبارکباد پیش کرتے ہیں کہ آج کے دن خواتین کی جو نمائندگی ہے ان دا لیگل پروفیشن ہم اس کو آگے بڑھا رہے ہیں. اور یہ اس بات کی گواہی دیتا ہے کہ وزارت قانون و انصاف چاہتے ہیں کہ women should be represented at all levels of the legal profession. It's of course a proud moment for all of us collaboratively. I would like to thank again all our partners, all women lawyers and academics جو اس کا پارٹ بنی ہیں, جنہوں نے اپنی نامینیشنز کو یہاں پر پریزنٹ کیا ہے اور جنہوں نے اس کال فار ایکشن کے اندر حصہ بھی لیا ہے, کیونکہ آپ کی پارٹیسپیشن کے بغیر یہ ممکن نہیں تھا. اب فائنلی ہمارے پاس ایک پورٹل ہے جس کے اندر کمپٹنٹ, کوالیفائڈ, اسٹرانگ ویمن لائرز ریپرزینٹ ہوں گی. ان کو ہم کنیکٹ کریں گے ڈفرینٹ کلائنٹس کے ساتھ, ان کو اپرچونیٹیز پریزنٹ کریں گے. اور اس کی جو بگننگ ہے جیسے ندا نے آئیڈینٹیفائی کیا 1 سال پہلے ہوئی تھی, اور وہ اس لیے شروع ہوئی تھی کیونکہ ہماری ڈسکشن ہو رہی تھی وزارت قانون و انصاف میں کہ پاکستان کی خواتین وکلاء ہیں کہاں. لاء منسٹر جو جینڈر ایکوالٹی میں اسٹرانگلی بلیو کرتے ہیں, انہوں نے کہا کہ ویزیبل نہیں ہیں, اور ان کی ویزیبلٹی کو انشور کرنے کے لیے ہم نے اس پروجیکٹ کا انعقاد کیا. اور یہ بہت ہی اہم قومی نوعیت کا ایشو ہے, چاہے پارلیمان ہو, بینچز ہوں, بارز ہوں یا کوئی بھی پبلک آفس ہو, اس کے اندر خواتین کی نمائندگی ایکول طریقے سے ہونی چاہیے, برابر طریقے سے ہونی چاہیے, اور ایسے ہونی چاہیے جو ہماری پاپولیشن کی ریپرزنٹیشن کو ریفلیکٹ کرے. تو انشاءاللہ اس بہت ہی اہم جو مقصد ہے ہمارا, اس کو آگے بڑھائیں گے. اور اگلے سالوں میں چاہے ہم حکومت میں ہو نہ ہو, انشاءاللہ جو بھی حکومت میں ہوگا وزارت قانون و انصاف سے اس اہم ایشو کو آگے بڑھائے گا اور انشور کرے گا کہ جو ویمن ان لاء ایوارڈ سیریمنی ہے وہ ہر سال منعقد ہو, اور ویمن لائرز, ایکیڈیمکس اور پروفیشنلز کی جو اچیومنٹس ہیں اس کو ہم سیلیبریٹ کریں ایک قومی سطح کے اوپر, ایک فیڈرل لاء منسٹری کی طرف سے, اور ان کو ویزیبلٹی دیں جو ان کو آج تک آئی تھنک ایک نیشنل طریقے سے نہیں ملتی ہے. بہت شکریہ. تھینک یو ویری مچ.
Thank you so much, Barrister Malika Bukhari. Kindly welcome now Mrs. Iona Thomas, Political Counselor, British High Commission. We are pleased to have you on stage, ma'am. This paradigm shift would not be complete without the guidance and insight from the higher judiciary. It is indeed a privilege to welcome one of our patrons for this event, Honorable Retired Justice Azmat Saeed.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Since all of us may not understand Urdu or Punjabi, so I think it will be appropriate that I speak in English. At the very outset, I must apologize that 48 years of smoking and nursing a broken heart has played havoc with my vocal cords. So please don't expect me to sound like Pavarotti. When I was first asked about the subject and to come and speak here as a women in law, the first thought that came to my mind was, are they talking about mother-in-laws? sister-in-laws, daughter-in-laws. And then I became a little wiser that no, the topic is serious, but not quite as serious as I expected it to be. Ladies and gentlemen, I joined the legal profession in 1978. That was a long time ago. And I have seen the landscape of the legal profession change. The first decade was terrible. And both in terms of gender equality and the rights of the people of Pakistan. Towards the end of the first decade of my being in the legal profession, the seeds for change were sown, and primarily because of resistance by the political parties and by women and women groups, and especially among lawyers. And thereafter, the landscape started to change. Every institution, whether it's or every profession, has an architecture. And every architecture which includes this profession of law includes glass ceilings. And this has included, our profession has also included glass ceilings. When I started my practice, it was a boys' club. It is no longer a boys' club. But glass ceilings were there. And I've seen those glass ceilings shattered one after the other by brave women. I am aware that if you shatter one glass ceiling, you're confronted with another glass ceiling. But it doesn't really matter. But glass ceilings are there only to be shattered and broken. And we can do that, and it can be done. The other aspect which I must point out is I try to be subtle. Just sometimes what is seen as misogyny is perhaps mismanagement. And these managerial issues that we are confronted with in certain matters will be sorted out. And perhaps another glass ceiling will be shattered sooner than later. And for all those who know what is happening around us will understand what I've talked about. The other thing that we have to see is some figures were quoted. I believe that the figures are misleading. I'm not disputing the figures. I'm sure there are X percentage of women in the profession, higher leaders of law firms, in the Attorney General's office, in the judiciary, but the figures are misleading. I have seen, for example, the number of judges in the lower judiciary take a quantum leap over the years. That's one thing, which is a positive sign, and they will mature their way up into higher positions soon. The other thing is, after retirement, I did not sit at home and just nurse a broken heart, literally a broken heart. But I also was involved in giving legal opinions in various issues to keep myself busy. And I had a lot of help was engaged by law firms. And a bunch of young lawyers would come and assist me and would discuss issues, and I would guide their research. And I discovered that 50% of those bright young sparks who came were women or girls or whatever you want to call them. So these figures that there are only 5% in the profession is wrong. Maybe 5% in numbers, but where quality matters, the percentage of women is much higher. So let us not lose heart. We can do a lot will happen. Don't undersell yourself. Don't undersell yourself. And don't underestimate yourself. The world is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Justice Asman Saeed Saab. Before we proceed with the award-giving ceremony, let us acknowledge the precious support of the Women in Law Awards jury member, Baroness Helena Kennedy QC, Honorable Justice Retired Nasira Iqbal, Naveen Merchant, Barrister Taimur Malik, and Barrister Anisa Agha, who dedicated their precious time and efforts to this landmark initiative. May I now request the honorable guests to come forward and distribute the awards to the winners. I would request you all to please come forward. First, we will have categories for entities that scored well on gender and diversity scale. The first award is for Legal Department of the Year. The nominations would be announced by Ms. Nida Osman.
Thank you so much, Laiba. The nominees for Legal Department of the Year are, on the screen please, can we have the slide? Yeah. Fatma Group of Companies and Novo Nordisk Pharma. And the winner is Novo Nordisk Pharma. Their department has contributed to the diversity and inclusion ambition of the organization by establishing Women Exchange Platform for Women to Connect and to create awareness around gender parity in the workforce. Is Ms. Sidra Jameel here to collect the award? Okay, we can move on to the next category.
The next category is Gender Project Initiative of the Year.
The Gender Project Initiative of the Year was a very interesting category. It has 3 nominations: Access Law Chambers, which is Beti, and Legal Aid Society. And the winner is Access Law Chambers for their petition to ban 2-finger test and the virginity test. May I please request Ms. Maria Farouk, Advocate Maria Farouk, to come and collect the award on behalf of Access Law Chambers.
The third category is Best Gender and Diversity Rights Advocacy.
And the nominees for Best Gender and Diversity Rights Advocacy are The Awakening, RSIL, Blue Wings, and Legal Aid Society. We are very happy to announce that the award goes to Blue Wings. Blue Wings is a woman-led organization based in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and they work on women, girls, and transgender persons' collective power. May I please request Ms. Sana Ahmed or anybody from the organization to come and collect the award? Oh, sorry. The president herself is here. Yes, Blue Wings.
Our fourth category is Most Inclusive Law Firm of the Year.
Law firms are usually quite but now when it comes to inclusion, so we had to include this category. We have 2 nominees, Access Law Chambers again and RSIL. And the award goes to Access Law Chambers for actively focusing on addressing underrepresentation, for promoting women to partner-level positions, for having a daycare and maternity and parental leave policies. Maria Farouk, please come and collect your award. Access is also recognized by chambers and partners for their Diversity Inclusion Index. They have separate sanitation facilities, entry ramp, and elevators to facilitate differently abled as well.
May I please announce individual categories for women in law? The first category is Law Student of the Year.
The law students of the year, they work so hard, so they have to be rewarded. And because the discouragement starts that early, the encouragement must also start from the state of their legal education. We have Marit Shabir, Maha Hussain, Ms. Neelam Ibrar Chatan, Ashbah Nawaz, and Shafia Imran as nominees. And the winners are divided into 3 segments. So the second runner-up is Ms. Neelam Ibran Chatan. She's a law student and human rights activist and peace campaigner. Ms. Neelam, please come on stage to collect your award. The first runner-up is Miss Ashbah Nawaz. When she was an undergraduate, she served as legal assistant to Federal Ombudsperson for protection against harassment of women at workplace. She has been certified by U.S. Department of Commerce in international commercial arbitration as well. She's not here, but is her mother here on her behalf to collect the award? Do we have? No, okay. The winner in the category is Miss Maha Hussain. She's a student at Cambridge. She was selected as a panelist for Cambridge for their refugee task force, and she prepared preliminary submissions before the Competition Commission of Pakistan as well when she was in Pakistan. Maha Hussain, Law Student of the Year.
Our second category is Rising Stars of the Year.
Young lawyers also need a lot of encouragement, so we have Ms. Amna Riaz Ali, Ms. Hira Salim, Ms. Barrister Jugnu Kazmi, Khushbach Shah Jalani, and Mashal Azam. Again, we have three categories over here, three types of winners. So the second runner-up is Ms. Hira Salim. She's an advocate at Sindh High Court. She leads the Legal Aid Society Community Justice Program. May I please request Ms. Malia Zia to come and collect her award? Our first runner-up in the category is Khushbach Shah Jalani. She has extensive experience in commercial litigation and her work in social activism as founder of Adal or Sehat is making rounds in Karachi and Sindh and Pakistan all over. So Khushbach Shah Jalani, our first runner-up. And the winner for the Rising Star of the Year award goes to Barrister Jugnu Kazmi. She serves as State Counsel at Islamabad High Court. She previously served as Judicial Clerk. She's a legal and policy specialist. She was a legal and policy specialist at JPP and is currently the legal consultant for United Nations Population Fund.
Our third category is the Academic of the Year.
The Academics of the Year, the nominees are Ms. Marwa Khan, and then we have Professor Tasneem Kausar and Ms. Abira Ashfaq. And the winner is Ms. Abira Ashfaq. She's taught law in Karachi since 2007. She's written on a range of human rights issues, including labor rights, urban violence, gender-based violence, and is currently campaigning with Karachi Bachao Tehreek.
Our fourth category is Unsung Achiever of the Year.
By including this category, we want to honor those who are literally invisibilized, and therefore we want to acknowledge their contributions to the work they do. We have the first nominee, Sara Tarar. She was then Deputy Director of University of London Program, and she kept the program growing under leadership despite her personal loss and cancer. And the second nominee that we have is Ms. Nurul Sabah, who works as a legal team head for committee at the Legal Aid Office in Karachi. And the winner is Ms. Nurul Sabah. May I request Ms. Malia Zia to come and collect her award?
Our fifth category is Outstanding Comeback of the Year.
This is especially to honor mothers-in-law motherhood, and those women who've, had to take a break from the profession for whatever reasons and are back in action. So we have the nominees, Dr. Mubin Imran Shah, Barrister Mariam Salman, Miss Malia Zialari, and Javeria Kashif. And the winner is Miss Malia Zialari. She currently holds the position of Associate Director. She was pregnant, heavily pregnant, when she was presenting legal amendments to rape laws in Pakistan. Yes, and she was back on her feet, training the Sindh police and overseeing pilot trainings on human rights. Miss Malia Zia.
Our sixth category is Best Prosecutor.
And the nominees are Alvina Shah and Ms. Sabira Islam. And we're very pleased to announce that the winner is Saida Alvina Shah with 9 years of experience at District Court, Peshawar. She's a focal person for victims of gender-based violence and child abuse. Congratulations.
Our seventh category is Best ADR Lawyer.
ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution, requires separate set of skills. We have two nominees, Ms. Maria Farooq and Dr. Nudrat Paracha. And the winner is Dr. Nudrat Paracha, the first lawyer from Pakistan to become a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. May I please request Barrister Farooq Karim Qureshi Saab to come and collect the award on her behalf. Is he here? No. Okay, we can move on to the next category then.
Our eighth category is Pro Bono Contributor.
The nominees are Barrister Jannat Ali Kalyar, Ms. Javeria Kashif, Ms. Khushnood Zakirullah, Ms. Rabia Sagar, Saida Bakhtawar Jafri, and the winner is Barrister Jannat Ali Kalyar. She provides legal representation to victims of online harassment and defamation laws. She's an expert at cyber laws and has represented many vulnerable students and other marginalized groups for their fundamental rights. She's not here, so we can move on to the next category.
Our ninth category is Transactional Lawyer of the Year.
The nominees for the Transactional Lawyer of the Year, Meher Salim, Maria Farooq, Shafaq Rahman, and Amina Ahmed. And the winner is Amina Ahmed, Access Law Chamber. She heads the projects practice group. She's a projects and transactions specialist focusing on power and infrastructure. Shahab Sahab? Yes, okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were here. Congratulations.
Our 10th category is Sole Practitioner of the Year.
Surviving in a firm may be difficult, but surviving as a sole practitioner is even more challenging. And very happy to announce that we have two sisters in the same category from Charsadda district, Sipas Mustasim Genzo Dunha, and then the third nominee is Barrister Shayan Kasir. And the winner is Barrister Shayan Kasir, founder and principal lawyer at SQ Law, her independent law practice, and she represents clients before Islamabad High Court and provides legal advice on civil and corporate matters. I also want to specially acknowledge Sipas and Genzo for the work that they do in their circumstances. All of them are so worthy of this. Yes.
Our 11th category is In-House Counsel of the Year.
This was one of the most highly contested categories since most females are working as in-house counsels. We have Hamna Shahzain, Sidra Jamil, Shumaila Lone, Fatma Gohar, Mehwish Ismail, Mashal Mohammed, Sanya Said, and Amna Iqbal as nominees. And this is the only category in which we also have a tie. So we will please invite on stage Fatma Gohar and Mehwish Munira Ismail. Fatma is the in-house counsel for Fatma Group, and Mehwish has over a decade of diversified legal experience in multiple jurisdictions. Currently, she's working at the First Microfinance Bank. Yeah, congratulations. I think Fatma is not here. Mentor of the year.
Our 12th category is Mentor of the Year.
Women in leadership positions mentoring other women who are junior to them. Very important category. The nominees are Ms. Huma Jameel Babar, Ms. Shabnam Ishaq, and Shaida Sukhera. And the winner is Barrister Shabnam Ishaq. May I call Amna Riaz Ali to come and collect the award. Barrister Shabnam, as the director of University of London's program, senior faculty at Pakistan College of Law, is instrumental in the personal and professional development of her students, and her success is reflected in the academic achievements and achievements in the profession of her students worldwide.
Our 13th category is Gender and Diversity Champions.
This was the toughest category, and our jury has returned with the solutions. So we have 4 winners from 4 different provinces, each representing a champion in their province. The nominees are Maria Farooq, Huma Jameel, Malia Zialari, Rubina Naz, Sabira Islam, Zara Viani, Mehwish Munira, Aisha Jagirani, Barrister Aisha Sadiq Khan, and Shaida Sukhera and Mashal Muhammad. So we had, it was a highly contested category. And the winners are Rubina Nas from KP, Maliha Zia from Sindh, Maria Farooq from Punjab for her petition to ban the virginity testing, and Sabira Islam from Balochistan, who's worked tirelessly to improve the condition of women.
Moving to our last category,
Wait for them to come.
we now proceed to our last category, Advocate of the Year.
The nominees for Advocate of the Year 2021 are Barrister Jannat Ali Kalyar, Zasma Hamid, Huma Jameel Babar, and Barrister Zara Serviani. And we're very pleased to announce that the Advocate of the Year Women in Law Awards 2021 is Ms. Asma Hamid. Ms. Asma Hamid is Advocate Supreme Court. She's the founder and head of litigation at Asma Hamid Associates. She served as the Advocate General for the province. She's the first women litigator from Pakistan to be ranked internationally by Chambers and Partners, and they rank her highly for dispute resolution. Asma Hamid, Advocate of the Year. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, everyone. May I invite our guests to take their seats so that we may proceed with the closing address. May I request Ms. Iona Thomas, Political Counselor, British High Commission, to please grace us with her closing address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, and salam alaikum. The British High Commission is delighted to be part of the first ever symposium on inclusivity and diversity in the legal profession in the history of Pakistan. I'd like to applaud the Ministry of Law and Justice, in particular Minister Farog Naseem and Parliamentary Secretary Malika Bukhari, for taking such an empowering and constructive step that enables young Pakistani women and young men who stand by women with a forum to express their views and share suggestions to bridge the gender gap in the justice sector. It is also very encouraging to see the state work in collaboration with credible and acknowledged civil society organizations such as Group Development Pakistan on this initiative. I'd like to commend the efforts of the Australian High Commission and the commitment that they have also shown to this initiative. I'm going to quote some statistics which the Justice may caution me against, but my understanding is that in Pakistan, women make up less than 4.3% of members of the senior judiciary, and there are only 6 out of 200 women members in the 7 bar councils of Pakistan. This lack of representation keeps women out of critical decision-making processes and hinders the provision of gender and child-sensitive justice. But today's symposium is an opportunity to shine a light on this imbalance, identifying the barriers as well as the ways forward to redress it. And the awards today that we have just witnessed recognize the important contribution of individuals in this cause. The awards also highlight a set of role models for younger women aspiring to enter the law and judiciary, and I was very pleased to see the award for mentor category, as we know that the role that mentors and role models play is so important to enable women to enter the careers and fields where they see they can be welcome and succeed. And today's awards recognize not only the women who are more advanced in their careers, but also some of those who are just starting out and hopefully, as the retired justice has said, will smash some of those glass ceilings that still remain in the field of law. The symposium and awards will help to ensure that we will have a visible pool of women whose professional recognition will enable them to access doors which would have otherwise remained closed, for themselves and for future generations. We all know that increasing women's representation is essential to having a more inclusive and therefore better informed set of decisions, richer perspectives, and the better delivery of justice for all. This is the first symposium, but hopefully not the last. The British High Commission is honoured to be part of these historical events towards gender equality. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. May I please request His Excellency Dr. Geoffrey Shaw, Australian High Commissioner to Pakistan, to deliver his special address. Welcome, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Look, it's wonderful for me to be here today and supporting this terrific initiative. So I just want to start by thanking you for that invitation to be able to join with you today, and for your work in trying to achieve fair representation for women in Pakistan's justice sector. Let me first acknowledge the distinguished guests, the diplomatic colleagues, honourable members of Parliament, members of the judiciary, and in particular I want to acknowledge and thank the work of the Federal Minister for Law and Justice, the Honourable Dr. Naseem, and the Parliamentary Secretary for Law and Justice, Malika Bukhari. This, of course, is Pakistan's first Women in Law Awards and Symposium on Diversity and Inclusion, organised, of course, by the Ministry of Law and Justice, Group Development, and the Women in Law Initiative. The Women in Law Awards and this symposium are proudly supported by Australia. Through this program, Australia supported Women in Law web portal and the app lawyher, a digital platform bringing together information to help support and promote women in the legal profession. We also last year supported a baseline study on the state of women's representation in law in Pakistan to help the sector make data-driven decisions that increase women's participation in the legal profession. Australia's Foreign Minister and Minister for Women, Marise Payne, has placed gender equality at the very core of Australia's foreign policy. For a long time, Australia has been recognised internationally for its support for women's rights through its aid program, peacekeeping contributions, regional engagement, and interventions on such bodies as the Human Rights Council. More recently, Australia contributed to the representation of women in the legal profession internationally by nominating, advocating, and securing the position of only the fifth woman to be elected to the International Court of Justice, an Australian barrister and solicitor, Professor Hilary Charlesworth. And I want to thank Pakistan, of course, for the support of that nomination. We're also proud to have a woman as our Chief Justice of the High Court of Australia, the Honourable Susan Keffel. We look forward to when Pakistan will have its first Supreme Court Justice who's a woman. Every country shares the challenges of equal representation for women, and I want to acknowledge Pakistan's endeavours for gender equality, particularly its recent achievements. For example, just last week we saw a number of pieces of legislation adopted, which I think is certainly a great sign. And this comes on top of, for example, last year's the Women in Property Rights Amendment Bill, but also here in Islamabad, the newly established Gender Protection Unit within Islamabad Capital Territory Police, a dedicated division that will exclusively handle related issues to gender-based violence, domestic violence, child abuse, and harassment. Colleagues, challenges remain. In the legal profession in Pakistan, as in many countries around the world, including Australia, the profession remains male-dominated. Whether as lawyers, judges, academics, or members of bar councils, as we just heard, better gender representation improves justice outcomes for everybody. Better gender representation in law will drive inclusive policies and attitudes in society more widely, creating a more fair and just community. While acknowledging we ourselves still have a way to go for equal representation, I'd like to share some of our own experiences. Australia takes a multi-pronged approach to closing the gender gap, focusing on increasing girls' and women's access to basic public services, promoting women's economic empowerment, and enhancing women's voices in policy frameworks and institutions. We know that when women can enter and remain in the labour force, economies grow. Women's economic empowerment and unconstrained participation in the formal economy is a significant driver of sustainable economic growth and prosperity. Therefore, promotion and protection of gender equality is a key pillar of Australia's international human rights agenda. We do this by supporting government initiatives and working with civil society. Here in Pakistan, promoting equality and the rights of women and girls, of course, is central to our work, as it is in every country. We're very pleased to support the Male Champions of Change Pakistan chapter, bringing together male CEOs who commit to cultivating female leaders in their companies and across society. Gender equality also continues to be a focus of our development assistance activities. For example, our work with UNFPA is helping nearly 300,000 women access essential maternal health care in KP and Balochistan. Our work of Oxfam is helping address gender-related issues in the Sindh province by challenging the stereotypes that young women and girls only belong at the home. We recognise the important role that women play as decision makers, including through our support of the Accountability Lab, working with women leaders to counter COVID-19 misinformation in their communities. And of course, we assure that 50% of all Australia Awards Master Scholarships are awarded to women. We're providing workshops for journalists in Pakistan, for example, on the role of media in reporting responsibly and accurately on gender-based violence cases. Tonight, of course, is the eve of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. While activism is all year round, these 16 days give us an opportunity to reflect deeply on what we can do to prevent and ultimately stamp out gender-based violence once and for all. After all, no nation has a monopoly on best approach to solving challenges of gender inequality. We can learn a lot from each other. So let me wrap up again by congratulating today all of the award recipients and the implementing partners, Group Development Pakistan and the Women in Law Initiative Pakistan on this fantastic achievement. Of course, again, let me acknowledge too the strong and ongoing support of the initiative for the Honourable Minister and Parliamentary Secretary. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Before the address of our Law Minister, I would first like to call all the winners for a group photograph. Please come forward. Can we have all the winners on the stage, please? I would want our guests to please join our winners. May I request everyone to please take their seats? We now have the privilege to invite the Honourable Minister for Law and Justice, Barrister Dr. Mohammad Farooq Naseem, to enlighten us about his vision for women's empowerment and equal representation in the legal profession of Pakistan. Sir, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much. The organizers, Group Development Pakistan, the Australians and the Brits, in particular the High Commissioner, and Ms. Fiona from the British High Commissioner. And one sincere mention of our guest of honor, Justice Azmaz Saeed, a great individual, a person with immense merit and integrity. So can we have a big round of applause for Justice Azmaz Saeed? Thank you. I'm also very grateful to my dear sister Valerie Khan of the Group Development Pakistan, and how she has partnered with us at the Law Ministry. And of course, I would fail in my fundamental duty if I don't mention my Parliamentary Secretary, Barrister Malika Bukhari, a young global leader and obviously a leader in her own right. On a lighter note, जो आपने कहा ना कि पता नहीं आगे क्या होगा, तो I don't have the crystal ball. Maybe you do. Before I say anything further, may I just say, may I just share a few observations with you. When I started my legal profession, that was the early 90s, and of course there were women in Karachi where I started practice, but of course now the scenario is not all that bad. We have more and more women in this profession, and women who are to be taken seriously. They're very well educated, well meaning, well trained women all over Pakistan. So the things are changing. We do have the fundamental document, i.e., when I talk about the fundamental document, I talk of our constitution, in which there is Article 25(2), which says that there shall be no gender discrimination. And then, of course, we have Article 34, where it says that the state has to ensure full participation of women in all spheres of life. All spheres of life. And there is Article 35, which says that the state shall protect marriage, family, the mother, and the child. We also have Article 37 C, which says that children and women should not be employed in vocations which are unsuited to their age or to their gender. Then, of course, we have the fundamental right of life, which, read with Article 25(2) and Articles 34, 35, and 37, they provide the platform. They provide the legal and the constitutional platform that we require for any proper participation of women in this profession. But before I know my sister said don't you have very little time, so I'll try to stick to. But may I share one thing with you? In the last 2 months or 3 months, I was so depressed by the attitude of our bar associations, bar councils, and even senior members of the Judicial Commission. You know, whenever a woman she's tipped or she's proposed to be elevated, there is a voice, a male voice from somewhere, and they say that look, we need women on merit. We cannot elevate a woman who's not merited. And then suddenly there's a woman from the Lahore High Court, a merited woman, a judge, who stands on her own merit. And I think her judgments speak. She competes with any great male legal brain. But then what happens? The Bar Association opposes. The Bar Councils, they oppose. All of them who advocate human rights, all sorts of verbosity that we hear. And when the time comes, some of the senior members of the Judicial Commission, who in our hearts of hearts, we think, oh, he's a man who is a liberal human being, and they are opposing this woman being elevated, the first judge of the Supreme Court, would be. She's being opposed by these men who say that they are liberals, but in application and in practice, see what they do. The first opportunity that we get for a woman on merit who could have been a judge of the Supreme Court, all of them gang up and they say, no, don't elevate her. We are in minority, but we've not lost hope. We will try again. And we will keep on trying till such time we make sure that those women, especially those who are on merit, they get their proper, lawful, constitutional share. And we'll keep on doing that. This forum, this attempt that the Law Ministry has made, this is just the start. And we request you, all women in this country, and whosoever, whether they are men or women, please note that Islam and Islamic jurisprudence places a very precious role, a very high standing role to a woman. And what that is, beneath the feet of a mother lies the heaven of a child. Now, the child could be a woman and the child could be a man. So my heaven lies beneath the feet of my mother. And who's that mother? She's a woman. And that is Islam and Islamic jurisprudence for you. So make no mistake that as far as till such time this Law Ministry is there, yes, some people in jest say, oh, this is maybe not the Federal Ministry for Law and Justice. This is really a woman's rights ministry. I said, okay, this is a compliment for me. We'll keep on legislating whatever we feel appropriate to emancipate the women of this country. We had the anti-rape laws, and you know what the anti-rape laws. And perhaps it is the first time in the history of not only Pakistan, but if you would look other jurisdictions also. I'm not just saying because me, myself, my team made this law. Just compare it with the law that we have all over the world, and just see how the settings of Pakistan have been taken into account. But again, as I say, this is just a start. We also had the Women Property Empowerment Statute. 50% of women in this country, on an average, are women. And this takes care. This property rights statute is a very important statute. And what it does, if you are a woman, irrespective of your education, your status, your wealth, and if you yourself or any NGO, a friend of yours, or suo moto, the woman ombudsman, takes cognizance, then the woman ombudsman, then takes steps, curtails all procedures, and give you the possessory and other rights in the property. And why the women in Pakistan are not emancipated? One of the reasons, apart from this inherent male chauvinism that I spoke to you with regard to bar associations and bar councils and some senior judges, do excuse me, and I do apologize if I say this, because I was really depressed when we were defeated by majority. So what I very respectfully state before all of you, that your emancipation is actually in your own hands also. You need to really work harder towards your capacity. And there's no reason why women should try to restrict themselves only to chamber practice, transactional work, or being happy with being in-house counsels or lawyers. You need to come into the field. You need to come into the profession. Unless and until you start practicing in the profession, practicing law, you will not be reckoned and considered for elevation to the higher judiciary. Lower judiciary, of course, there is quite a change. The change is welcome. We have far more many female judges in Pakistan in the lower judiciary today than it were, say, 30 years ago when I started practice. So once again, my regards for everyone, for each one of the participants, Valerie Khan, and all of the guests. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. May I please invite Ms. Valerie Khan Yousafzai to come on the stage.
Before I actually I'm supposed to deliver the vote of thanks. Before I do so, we're having a guest who's trying to connect from UK, so we're waiting until it's confirmed or not. It's in process, let's see. But meanwhile, I really would like to reiterate that whatever you see here is certainly a synergic work between civil society and the Federal Ministry of Law and Justice and the donors, the British High Commission and the Australian High Commission. But I would also like to emphasize the fact that without a state entity willing to take that risk, willing to push forward, willing to challenge the status quo, and without, because we're talking about gender equality, but within some difficult environment, without main allies and male champions along with women, we would never be able to be there. So, and I also talk for, Your Excellency Dr. Geoffrey Shaw, because you're among those men, along with our Minister and along Honorable Justice Asmat Said. So what I just wanted to do is to propose and request the honorable guest to accept a few token of our gratitude for being there in moments that really matter, because we know that you've seen the potential in this country, and we know that thanks to you, thanks to steps and words that mean a lot, because those words are being heard, are being disseminated, we hope that the baseline of next year will be better, and so forth. So thank you very much, and we have a token of recognition for all of you through some shields. Please, would you like to step up? And we would like to give you that. Thank you so much.
Honorable Justice.
Hello. We would like to welcome Her Excellency Baroness Helena Kennedy. Thank you so much. She's a clap for her, because she's very busy and she's been really trying hard to make some time for us. She's been connecting with us until very late, and it's really also important for us because, as we discussed with Iona from the British High Commission, Dr. Geoffrey Shaw, with Lauren as well at that time, and Malika, we talk about the sisterhood. And I would like to invite Malika to say a few words. Yeah, please.
Thank you. I was not supposed to do this, but I will take this opportunity to introduce Britain's finest human rights lawyer, Baroness Helena Kennedy, QC. She has been a great mentor for me when I was in the United Kingdom. She's a feminist. She is a great supporter of women's rights. She has played an important role in ensuring that women like me come in the legal profession. She has many historic judgments to her record, but she has written 2 very amazing books which document the journey of women in the legal profession, which document the journey of women victims who face many problems in access to justice in Britain. So it is an absolute privilege and honor for, I think, all of us for her to be speaking here today. Thank you, Baroness Kennedy, for taking out the time to speak, and over to you for your comments on the Women in Law Awards. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. And it's a great honor to be asked to speak at today's event, where you are introducing these awards for women in the law. And it seems to me that it's a great thing to be doing. And I just wanted to speak a little bit about women in the law, because we in the United Kingdom were only recently, a couple of years ago, celebrating 100 years. It was 100 years of women being in the legal profession in the United Kingdom. And it really was a moment where we looked back on the real hurdles there were in women coming into the professions. And at that time, it was very interesting to me that there were a whole set of cases that came before the courts. And the cases were all about women wanting to get into universities, to get into the legal profession, and to get into public life generally, to be able to stand for parliament, to be able to vote. And when those cases came before the courts, the argument that was being put by the women was, you know, the law says that any person who is suitably qualified should be allowed to enter law school, should be allowed to enter the professions, any person suitably qualified. And so the only thing that the judges at that time could do was to say women were not persons. And so we now refer to those cases as being the persons cases, where women were not included in that very word. And so we know that for a long time, the bars to women's inclusion in the professions were very real, and they were male exclusive. And what we've learned in time is that it is vital for the well-being of societies that women are included in every aspect of our lives, because it improves the quality of the life of the whole community. And let me just talk about the business of law. We were celebrating, as I said, 100 years of women in the law. And in fact, it was someone who bears my name, a woman called Helena Normanton, who was the first person, in fact, to be admitted into an Inn of Court. And although somebody else sort of is always named, Ivy Williams is named as the person who was the first person to be called to the bar. Ivy Williams was named because she was sort of, if you like, higher up the list in taking the exams in her success rate. But she became an academic lawyer, Ivy Williams, and she did not become a practitioner, whereas Helena Normanton did, and practiced in the law, and eventually in 1948 became one of the first women Queen's Counsel. But it took a long time for her to make that ascendancy up the stairway, up that ladder, to recognise as a leading counsel. Now, I wanted just to talk about why all matters. Here we are. The rule of law is fundamental. We know this in our societies. One of the pillars of a society, as well as being the strength and power of Parliament, has to be the rule of law. And the rule of law is all about, of course, as you know, that there should be an independent judiciary, that the law should be there and accessible to all, and the many different, that nobody should be above the law, that it should apply to everybody equally. And there are those lists of things which explain to the world what the rule of law is about, why it is so vital, why it is that we have opportunities of having disputes resolved in independent courtrooms, and why independent judges are so important. But the other thing that's often forgotten is the importance of independent lawyers. that independent lawyers should be taking cases and fighting those cases on behalf of people, and assuring that people get their rights. And without lawyers, without the ability to have one's case heard, rights are meaningless in our world. And in recent times, one of our leading judges, who was the senior person in our courts, Lord Bingham, wrote a wonderful little book which I would recommend to you all, which is called The Rule of Law. And it really does detail and explain why the rule of law is so important and how it impacts on people's lives, and why it should be imbued in the contemporary times with protections for human rights. Now, the law did not include women for a very long time. And as a result, law was essentially man-made. Those who ruled got to make the rules. And our parliaments did not include women by and large. And even when women were included, their voices were small in the scheme of things. So law was made by senior judges in our courts, and they were usually men, and men from a particular class background. And in Parliament, law there, statutory law, was being made again by men. And so the perspective that basically informed the nature of law was a male perspective. And that's been true of the laws within our religions, within our societies, everywhere. And it's only been in recent times that one has recognized the shortcomings that there are in law that has not had the benefit of women contributing to law, and the way in which the reality of women's lives has to be present in law if law is going to deliver well for the whole of society. And it's true about others too, that we want to have the variety of different experience informing the nature of law. And so to have this opportunity today of talking about the importance of women within the legal system, with women within the parliamentary system, and there's no doubt in my mind that having someone like Malika Bukhari working with the minister in the Ministry of Law and Justice, and really introducing into that ministry perspectives which are going to enhance the lives of women, is a wonderful thing, and we need more of that. And I know, because I came out just a couple of before COVID, in the pre-COVID world, I came out to Pakistan and took part in a wonderful conference, and I was just sorry that I wasn't able to come. A week ago, I know that there was a repeat of that conference, which is named for Asma Jahangiri. But I came out to Pakistan and I had a wonderful time, and a wonderful time in the company of great women lawyers, great women judges. And while I pay tribute to the men of law in Pakistan, because I think that you have a very vibrant legal profession, and I've always admired the legal profession of Pakistan. But I do think that it is enriched by the presence of such fantastic women. And I met and spent time with them, and I was really invigorated by my experience of coming to Pakistan then. And I hope that I will be able sometime soon to come and join you too. Now, what I wanted to say today was that there is no doubt in my mind that even for the men of law, having women engaged with you in the discourse of law changes how we all think and feel about law. And I think that can only benefit society at large. I want to welcome that there is now there's new legislation with regard to sexual offences. There's new rape law in Pakistan. And I pay tribute to all of you in introducing stronger law to protect women and from the transgression that women experience in their lives. And we're still having those debates in Britain. Let's make it very clear. We just passed recently a much strengthened domestic abuse bill to protect women who are experience domestic violence and coercive control within their relations, within their marital relations, and within the domestic environment. And that law has been really important and will be important going forward, but we've strengthened it recently and revisited it because it was still such a serious problem. We had in Britain, the police receive 4 calls per minute about domestic abuse. So let's not imagine that all is well in the UK when it comes to the protection of women's rights. And I'm always amazed that when wherever I go in the world, this is an issue. It's not just, in some parts of the world. And the nature of our society is that they were built upon patriarchal ideas, and often within them, the idea of controlling women and being abusive of women has unfortunately, not all men abuse women, let it be very clear, but sadly it's too prevalent a problem. The other thing I wanted to raise was that the importance of dealing with issues like sexual harassment in the workplace. And I know it's uncomfortable to raise it, but I am going to raise it because it's wherever you go, when you speak to women lawyers in the professions around the world, the issue of what women experience from their male colleagues is unacceptable. The experience in incursions and touchings and comment and sexual commentary, and that is a drain on women's lives. And good men should be calling this behaviour out when they see their colleagues doing this sort of thing, or it's reported to them. We rely upon men this is not a women's problem. This is a problem which for all of us, and it's a degrading of women in the workplace, and it really undermines their success and often it leads to women departing law firms and law practices. So I really want that to be taken seriously, and I urge it upon you because it's still a problem everywhere, and a problem in the United Kingdom too. I wanted also to talk about street harassment, and we are currently having a look at this whole issue of the ways in which, and now it's happening, of course, online as well as offline, abuse of women, language being used towards women, derogatory and undermining and degrading language, and insults of a really grievous kind, again, which depletes the energy of women and undermines them in the spaces in which we want to have them operating. We need to have them operating because that's what produces good and strong societies. And so we have to do something about online insult and abuse and trolling of women, but we also have to make the public arena a safer place for women as they go about their daily round and their business. And sexual harassment and the pressing and the touchings of women don't speak about this stuff, but it is really and it's not any different in any country. And I'm sure that the opportunities to talk about this should be encouraged so that we start making the changes in all of our societies. I wanted to also urge on you the fact that we've all been experiencing the real challenges of COVID in recent times, and that of course can often mean erosions of the rights that are so important in our societies. The right to the freedom of assembly, the right to gather together, and to take the opportunity of being together. And so I wanted just to say to all of you, I hope that COVID will pass and that will be an opportunity of restoring many of the things that are really important to a society, and important for us as men and women working in the law. So I just want to congratulate you all on these and introducing these law awards. I know that you will be giving them to exceptional women